Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like, yeah. Here comes the, no. Here comes the, oh. Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like, yeah. Here comes the, no. Here comes the, oh. Here comes the.
And welcome back to Sooner Sound Waves, episode 2 of season 2, as we prepare for this college football season to really kick off after week 0 gave us 5 games. I'm Iceberg. Alongside me is the Goodfella,
Boomer,
and St. Pablo.
Sooner.
All right. So as we approach Illinois State, a little bit of a tune-up, going to be able to see what the offense and the defense has in store. Hopefully we can score a lot of points. Hopefully we can hold them to not very many. Today, the Sooners released their week 1 depth chart for Illinois State as the opponent. So, Goodfella, what surprised you about the depth chart today?
So what surprised me jumping off the page is looking at it. If you look at the running back right now by committee, we will have a starting running back come week 2. Right now, they have Barnes listed as the starter coming in to week 1, followed by the freshman. And then you got Jay Knott. He is listed as the third. It's actually so he could be second or third running back come this week 1. That's surprising looking at that in the depth chart, because you look at special teams, they have him listed as the starting kick returner, which if you think about kick returning and how many times they're kicking out the end zone, and come Saturday we may even may have kicked it off twice. Maybe in the first and then at halftime, who knows? So I'm thinking they put him at kick returner just because we're talking about touches. He may get a touch for kickoff, and he may get some touches off the third string running back due to, I believe, a shoulder injury that happened in the camp. So third string, but I do believe he'll be starting come week 2 against Michigan.
Okay. St. Pablo, I don't want to get to your surprise yet. What do you have to say about the running back group that Goodfella mentioned?
Well, I am shocked and surprised, a bit disappointed by Jay Knott potentially being injured and not, it seemed like there's a lot of talk about Jay Knott in the offseason, and, that this was going to enhance our running game, and then maybe they were doing some Oklahoma drills out this way and banged him up a little bit again. I'm hoping he can get back. Maybe this is a bit of a decoy per se with this depth chart, prior to the Michigan Wolverines game. Not that you're necessarily overlooking Illinois State here, but that was surprising to me. And Barnes being kind of listed up there toward the top is also a little bit surprising, because I did think Xavier Robinson ran really, really well. There toward the end of the season, it seemed as if he was, outside of Jackson Arnold's legs, it seemed as if he was the, most of our running and offensive efficiency, and he's a tough runner, and I thought he really, did well. So, yeah, a bit surprised by the depth chart on that end.
I'm gonna say I think we'll see running back by committee like we saw a couple years ago when we had a slew of running backs. I can't speak to Ben Arbuckle's offensive scheme because we haven't seen him with this much talent. So I don't know if he'll run with 2 backs or what that's going to look like. But I really feel like the way this looks is you're going to have potentially Javonte Barnes paired with Torrey Blaylock some series, and then you're going to potentially have Jaden Knott paired with Xavier Robinson in some series. That's the way I see this. I just see 4 great running backs that we could potentially split time with in order to save his shoulder, to kind of tag along with what the Goodfella was saying. I don't think for me, my injured guy isn't going to be in a position to return kicks. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
If I've got a guy with a shoulder injury, he's not going to be returning kicks. That's what he's not going to be doing, as opposed to playing offense. So, everything I read says he's been trying to get ready for this. But I think we're just going to see a slew of running backs as we play Illinois State. So, St. Pablo, what's your surprise on the depth chart?
Well, my surprise is Robert Spears Jennings. He was the man last year on the defensive side of the football. Not, one of many men who that reminds me of the song "Many Men."
Many.
That's why we get called a pop podcast from Chat GPT, is because every now and then St. Pablo likes to bust in a lyric or two. Back to the defense, Pablo.
Well, it helped me out here. Michael Boganowski.
Yeah, sophomore.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, my goodness. I mean, how do you even come in and rival that and have an "or" next to the name? So to me, that I don't know. Reading down through everything, that was a big surprise, and it was on the defensive side of the football. On the offensive side, Mateer, I mean, there's no surprise there, but I thought, Hawkins did a fine job in some cleanup times, in some starting roles, and coming in, and he challenged Arnold and took his spot, and now he's not listed as an "or." So
Michael Boganowski was a true freshman last year. Played linebacker at Junction City, Kansas. So not a transfer, but must have had a great fall camp to jump ahead of Spears Jennings. And so I agree with that. Mateer Hawkins, and I think we knew Mateer was going to be the starting quarterback. However, there could be some potential goal line packages where bring in Michael Hawkins and he gets in there with a full head of steam, can plow into the end zone. But yeah, both of those being interesting. But I just attribute the free safety position or to being, you've got two guys competing for a spot, and you've also potentially got different packages that Brent Venables is going to run with either one of them. Good fellow.
Yeah, I think it goes to show the strength in our secondary. I think I mentioned last week talking about, how strong we are defensively on the defensive line. But then you look at our secondary, and to see Robert Spears Jennings guys listed as "or," that just goes to show that we are pretty stacked in terms of defensively, and what we'll bring each and every week to that Saturday. When you talk about, as quarterback, I think we all knew Mateer will be leading OU this season, but I need to double check to see, does Hawkins have a red shirt possibly that he could use? And if so, it will be pretty smart of them to, he has 4 games you can kind of dib and dab and play with, to where, let's say John Mateer leaves this year going into the NFL after a Heisman-like season. We got Michaels, we got Hawkins coming in next year, with 2 years of experience, and then leading out his 3rd year, going into his senior year.
Hawkins is a true sophomore, according to the depth chart. So he does have red shirt year, true sophomore.
He can use a red shirt year.
I love Hawkins. Love the guy. Still iconic, his flip in the end zone against the Tennessee game at the Tennessee, when Tennessee was here in Norman. Are you guys concerned at all with the offensive line listing? And
it's my turn.
Canuck. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that's where I was going. Offensive and defensive line for my surprises. You look at the offensive line, it looks like the only position that doesn't have an or is right guard.
That's it.
The rest of them are up for grabs. And to me, that says that Bill Bedenbaugh is still looking for somebody to solidify their position. And, that's good to me. To me, it's good to have options. I've been hearing more and more things about how our offensive line got better. I hope that is true. We will play faster and we will spread the field, which I think is going to help a weaker offensive line as opposed to some of the things we did last year. And guys, you see the same thing on the defensive side of the ball. Look at all of the options we have from the defensive side of the ball. A lot of those guys that are listed as a two deep, we know had many, many downs last year. The other thing that I look at was the defensive end position with R. Mason Thomas being on the right. And then where is the left defensive end? Oh, I just lost it. R. Mason Thomas is above
Marvin Jones.
No, yeah, that's the other guy on the other side. But the I'm going to murder his name. Adebawore is the guy that everybody's been talking about, even for the last 2 years. And so to have that as a backup and somebody to come in, that means R. Mason can go full speed every single time, and then we've got a backup that's going to be pretty impressive too. So. Competition on the offensive line, depth on the defensive line. But one thing you mentioned, St. Pablo, Jaron Kanek comes in at tight end, starting tight end, coming from the linebacker position. Really excited for that kid to find a spot. Just everything that I'm hearing is how great of a team player he is. He had when we were down in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl 2 years ago, him and Stutzman both were part of the biggest reasons why we were able to stop them defensively. And then he kind of just, floated under the radar last year and didn't get a whole lot of playing time. But they've shifted him to tight end, and that's going to be really interesting to watch.
Are you still in Goodfella wanting DeMarco Murray fired because of this running back committee?
No, I mean, I would never say fire DeMarco Murray. Considering what we got right now in our backfield, yes, let's make it happen. You talk about the switch from linebacker to tight end, and we all know we experienced that debacle of tight end last year, tight end play. It was embarrassing to say the least. So to have this linebacker come over and take the starting role as the tight end one. I'm pretty excited to see what happens this year with him. So we will see what happens with that. So
you didn't like the play where the tight end tried to throw in the Missouri game?
Debacle.
LSU, wasn't it?
LSU, that's right. It was LSU.
Yeah, and then he went and joined them.
No. In the Missouri game, it was successful. There was some kind of tight end deal that was early.
Was it? Was it?
I think, yeah.
Must have inadvertently forgot that.
Yeah. No, but to jump in and you talked good. I talked about the offensive line and defensive line. Yeah, we're loaded. To see all those oars lets me know they are competing. They're not giving the job to anyone. You're going to have to earn it. So it's going to make those players, even though it's week one, no one's solidified a spot yet. So let's keep working and see what happens week two. I'm excited to see where we are come out there Saturday.
Especially when you look at left tackle. You got the Fasusi kid who's a true freshman. Or Sexton who's a senior. Like, what's that say about the Fasusi kid coming in?
Yeah.
It's exciting. Hope it all, man, I just hope they come out firing on all cylinders this weekend and we can get excited about Sooner football like we have in the past. Yeah.
I'm with St. Pablo. Even though I said our record is going to be 4 losses, if it all pan out, man, this is maybe a 2-loss team. We'll see.
Careful. ESPN disagrees.
You had 3?
You had 3, didn't you?
Oh, I had 3.
Yeah, Goodfella had 3 losses.
3.
St. Paulo had 2 losses, and I had 4.
Yeah.
He's agreeing with you, St. Paulo. He's saying that maybe he needs to
I could
Getting one of those losses back.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be that Missouri one. I don't think I'm going to get that one back, but I can't right now. So,
Speaking of getting excited about Sooner football, one of the biggest takes of the offseason has been the seat and the temperature of Brent Venables. How hot is the seat? What is the record that he needs to save his job? And before we get into this, let me say, whatever that is, I hope he achieves it. I love the guy. I think he's great for OU football. But I do know that, sometimes, unfortunately, things happen, and never want to call for a guy's head. So I'm going to be super optimistic here. All three of us have picked a record that would save his seat, in my opinion. But St. Pablo, let's go to you. What record could get him fired? Unfortunately,
you positioned that really well, because I 100% agree that all three of us picked a record that saves him. I think a 7-5 record really starts to put his job in jeopardy. And anything 7-5 or lower is a situation that I don't want to see Brent Venables in either, because I really appreciate you saying that. I agree. I think he's a person of character, tenacity. I like what he brings to the university. I think he's one of those guys that, if the job needs to get done, he's going to do it. I love his attitude, approaching this season with, I'm going to be defensive coordinator, call some plays. Why? Well, it's real simple. I'm good at it, and he's excellent at it. And I want to see him get a, title as a head coach. He has a couple as a defensive coordinator. I'd love to see him as the guy in the head coaching position. He's down to earth. I mean, I love the story about after the Alabama game, late at night, sitting in line at Taco Bell, and he drops $200 because he's, he hadn't eaten yet. I mean, he's just great for the university in so many ways. But I unfortunately, I think his buyout, is 35 million. It's a bit of a Jimbo Fisher scenario at Texas A&M. They bought out at 76 million, I think. I think at a 7-5 record, that conversation's heating up really hot at the University of Oklahoma, because I think at your record, Goodfella, I think that that shows improvement. I think anything below it is just kind of on par of what we've seen.
Okay, 7-5 for St. Pablo. Goodfella, where are you at?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. 7-5. Yeah, anything lower than that, definitely questions if he stays in Norman. You talk about things he's done since he's been here. I will say, going into year 2 of the SEC, we've been faced to have 2 of the toughest seasons since he's been here. So although, we say 7-5 is really a hot seat for him, we do know that this is a difficult schedule for anyone to compete in. But with the weapons that we've acquired and the weapons that return for us, I do feel confident that he has really what he needs right now in front of him. He has the coaching staff established. So 7-5, anything under I would recommend that there's some conversations in what happens next year with him, with whomever the AD is, because that's still to be determined for for OU.
That's a great point. That
is a great point.
But Castiglione's sticking through through the school year?
I know they are.
I think he's going to go through the school year. So,
Yeah,
but
I wonder what his.
that's weighing on my decision here. That's why I'm saying then.
Oh yeah,
It's difficult to come in as a new AD and fire the head football coach.
right.
So, but I think I think that would unfortunately be Castiglione's parting shot if he had to do it. If there was pressure to do it, I'm going to disagree with you guys, and I'm going to go 7-5. He's safe. 6-6 is where the conversation would happen.
Hmm.
I think it's difficult to fire a coach that has a winning record, especially in the difficult schedule of the SEC that we have. I think if you can get out of that with a winning record, then you've probably bought yourself another year. However, if you get out of it at 6-6, and unfortunately, I think the bowl game performance is probably a good weighing factor too. It's been a long time since we performed in a bowl game well that was not a CFP bowl game. So, and I know there's a lot more variables in this day and time that there didn't used to be with players leaving early and all of those things. But I think at 6-6, the seat's hot. 7-5 winning record. He's safe and has bought himself another year. I mean, there's something to be said about having a top 5 schedule in the toughest conference, and having it 2 years in a row. If the situation were, we would be on the front side of a 2-year cycle. I could see it maybe being different, give another guy a chance. But I think with the outlook being, next year will be a different schedule. We've had a gauntlet the last 2 years. As long as we're above 500, I think Brent Venables is safe for another year.
Let me ask you this. Let me throw this in there.
I think we're thinking the same thing.
No, this is different.
Go ahead.
Something else. Let's say 6-6. Let's say those 6 wins were against, Texas, Alabama, LSU, and we lost games we shouldn't have lost. Does he still? That's a different conversation when you win the big ones and you lose the ones you shouldn't lose. Is that just a game planning? Like what happens with that? That's a different conversation on do we keep
it's a very different conversation. But I think if a guy has proven to you that he can beat the big guys, he's worth another shot.
Yeah.
Alabama was a marquee win last year.
Yeah.
I do think there's a lot of stake in the Texas game.
Yeah.
And I know San Pablo has brought that up multiple times.
Yeah. 7-5. Would you stick to that? Would you
7-5? I would stick to Texas loss. I just think
a
winning
big Texas loss though, like another shellacking, like it's been.
That's a morale.
I mean, I do, but here, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened with another big Texas loss in a 7-5. It wouldn't surprise me, but right. I do think it's really difficult to fire somebody with the schedule that we have if they are over 500. So, but a big Texas loss again, man, that would also be a dagger in the heart to me. You know what I mean? I don't want to go watch another one of those. Those are boring.
If in all fairness, you are in my opinion, a very sane kind of OU fan. And so you can only imagine the intensity. Say we do roll into Texas undefeated and then just get destroyed. And then it all kind of spirals down. Things get out of control pretty quick.
Texas that's a big week. That's a big week, especially if Texas comes in with a loss, at least one. That means somebody else has done it, which means the pressure is even higher. You know what I mean? If they come in undefeated, then I think a loss isn't as big of a deal. But if they come in, already having been bloody, if you will, like somebody's already cut them in the Rocky terms, then I think that's, that game's huge for him to win. And it would be really nice if we could be on the other side of a lopsided victory.
Oh yeah.
So can I take the other side of the AD conversation though?
Yeah.
Do you think that Castiglione, you think he's more likely to let Venables go than someone coming in new to kind of prove and establish themselves?
I do.
Okay.
He's Venables is. I really think he's loved enough by OU faithful and OU alum and the brotherhood, if you will, that you're not going to tee that up for a new guy to come in and make that much waves. You know what I mean? I think you're going to let the guy leave and, hey, unfortunately, I need you to do this before you go so we can not have to do it with the new guy coming in. I do think that.
Okay.
You disagree?
I don't know. That's a tough. I mean, just given the way in which the hiring went down for Brent Venables out of Clemson, and if I remember correctly, they took a private jet out there, visit him there. They have history, a lot of history together, and I don't know that Joe Castiglione would do such a thing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, what message will it send if he doesn't do it? Let's say he does have a losing season and you bring someone in, is it the cleaning house?
Well, okay, I was going under 7-5. I was playing under that.
Okay.
A losing season's different, I think, but 7-5, that's a tough call.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But I'm saying, supposedly, from everything I understand, Castiglione staying through the year to do it at the end of to do it when a new guy's in is too late. Like there's a timing thing too. You know what I mean? Like most good hires and big guys that get fired are going to get fired immediately after the season's over or towards the end of the season. The bowl time. Well, Castiglione's still going to be here. This is the way I've understood it. I've understood that he's carrying out the entirety of this school calendar year.
Well, whose seat is hotter, though, Ben Arbuckle's or Brent Venables? Because you already see that the University of Oklahoma is willing to mid-season poll on a coordinator. And let's say the offense, because you can take that other side on the offensive line and taking, tight end seems really thin position. We're doing the running back by committee. Let's say we don't get the production and it's similar, maybe a little bit of growth, but it's similar to last year.
I think they settled for Seth Luttrell. He was already on staff. I think that was a settle hire with, hey, we can do this, and he kind of knew the Jeff Levy system a little bit different. But we went and got Ben Arbuckle. I think that's a little bit different. When you go and get somebody, like you understand that, you got a year or two to let this guy work out the kinks because he's new and you went and got him. That's my opinion on that one. So, okay. We ready to shift gears?
Think so.
Lots of the week. Right? Is that where we're at?
We are locks of the week.
We are at locks of the week. Okay. Sometimes I get a little off. So last week, I'll start with me. I chose Kansas State as a 3-point favorite. That may have been the most boring, sloppy game I've ever seen in an awkward Dublin, Ireland, as St. Pablo so called out last week. Took a loss there. So Iceberg goes to 0-1. St. Pablo, you had Stanford as a 2.5-point favorite over Hawaii, and Hawaii ended up pulling off that game towards the end. So St. Pablo also goes 0-1. And then the Goodfella, who went with Old Faithful for him, KU, at a 14.5-point favorite. That game was really never in question. and he comes out with a win at 1-0.
At
So
a 14.5 spread.
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
it was a good pick. It was a good pick.
There was no doubt in my mind. I told you guys before. Mr. Daniels himself, senior year, he is destined to go and be a backup somewhere in the NFL. So this is his show-off year. He is going to play the best football that we'll see on Saturday. We will see him playing on Sundays as a backup one day.
All right.
Yeah.
Good call there. Okay, let's go backwards. Let's say best record always goes last. Okay, so Goodfella, you'll go last. There's nothing wrong with picking the same game as another one if you so choose. I'm going to go first since I went last week. I'm going to go with Clemson is currently favored against LSU by 3.5. I'm going to take LSU. So LSU plus 3.5 versus Clemson. I think LSU is going to pull that one off, and Clemson will not beat them by more than 3.5 points, 4 points.
Huh?
3. Okay. St. Pablo, you're up next.
Gonna go with the Baylor Bears to beat the Auburn Tigers. I feel confident in knowing who Auburn has as a head coach and who they now have as a quarterback. And let me tell you, things are about to get nasty at the University of Auburn because that guy, Hugh Freeze, he loves to throw quarterbacks under the bus.
He runs his man. He talks too much. That's the problem.
Yeah.
He talks
Yeah,
too much.
way too much.
And when Arnold does what Arnold does, God bless him, he is going to get tossed under that bus quick. They may pull him by halftime.
What's the spread?
I honestly don't know. It's something like who's favored in that game?
Baylor's favored.
Okay.
For that.
Take it, Baylor. But it's either 2-3 points, 2.5 maybe. I think it's another 2.5.
You have a good fella?
No.
The luck of the Irish was not with Kansas State. You're right. That was a rough game for Kansas State. Do you still have them to win the Big 12?
Me? No.
No. Never had them to begin with?
I don't think so.
It's here for Baylor.
The good fella has KU winning the Big 12, which honestly is not a bad pick right now.
I didn't say win the Big 12.
Where is that game?
Friday night.
Oh, it's a Friday night?
Okay.
Yeah.
I was looking at something
Yeah,
different.
this Friday. There are so many games going on. It's crazy. It's exciting.
There it is. Oh, so, okay. So Auburn's favored 2.5.
Oh, you still want that pick? Auburn is favored 2.5.
You want
You have
Baylor?
Baylor?
I want Baylor.
Okay.
Okay.
You got Baylor.
I got them. I got the Baylor Bears.
Well, they're playing in Waco, so that's probably your advantage right there.
All right.
Road trip. Here we go.
It's 7:00 game. Yeah, Friday night. That should be solid.
That's awesome that there's games on Friday night. Okay. Good fella. What's your pick?
But too bad, St. Pablo. I will not be watching that Baylor game. Instead, I'll be watching the only game that we be watching on Friday night, and that's Colorado taking Georgia Tech.
Okay.
It's prime time, baby.
So Georgia
Even though
Tech
they've lost everybody.
by 4.
I'm sorry?
Georgia Tech is currently favored by 4.
Oh, I'll take that. It had it right. Mine says 5, but I'll take 4. I love 4.
I'll give you your 5. I'll
So
give you your 5.
Colorado's lost 75% of their offensive production. Good fella.
So,
Sticking
Colorado
with
plus 5.
Colorado plus 5. Playing in Boulder.
So we all three have chosen underdogs.
We have. Let's see who's going to be the
Here we
winner.
go. All right. So just to wrap that up, Goodfella, Colorado plus 5 versus Georgia Tech. St. Pablo, Baylor plus 2.5 versus Auburn. Iceberg, LSU plus 3.5 versus Clemson.
Sounds right.
Sounds great. Sounds great. All right. Final thoughts for episode 2.
Oh,
St.
man.
Pablo, any parting thoughts?
Boomer.
Sooner. Good fella. What do you got?
Hey, we are in week 1 for OU football. Come Saturday in Norman. I'm excited. Let's go. Boomer Sooner. Boomer Sooner.
I just want to see like a well-oiled machine. Like I want to see an offense march the ball down the field, a quarterback that has command of the offense, mixing up the play calls. I want to see finesse. I'm excited. Hopefully it's a tune-up game. I don't think it has anything to be a trap game. I want to see a lot of points to little points. I want to see some OU football.
Hey, so not to count our locks of the week, but do you take OU to cover the 35.5?
No.
No, and I'm only seeing no.
Yes.
I'm seeing no only because we're trying to stay healthy to get in week 2. So there's no need to but that contradicts what I said last week about we're going to stump a mud hole in them. Like we're really just trying to get a good look, stay healthy, go into week 2. 1-0.
I think the first game, there's so many variables. There's so many variables with the offense, with the newness. I need to watch the test drive before I think about putting them as a lock of the week and purchasing.
OU's defense will score 14 points at least.
Oh, here comes St. Pablo with the prediction. Yeah, you heard it, folks. All 1,111 viewers of the Facebook page.
Thank you,
St.
guys.
Pablo says OU defense will score 14 and cover the 35.5, even though it's not his lock of the week. Mark it
I
down.
didn't realize we had that many relatives.
All right. Speaking of all the views on the Facebook page, thank you for all the views. Thank you for all the likes and the follows and the watching of episode 1. Please continue to do so. Share it with your friends. Comment. Ask some questions. We'd love to answer viewers' questions. That'll do it for episode 2. We'll see you next week for episode 3. Have a good one.
Boomer.
Here comes the,
Sooner.
here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the, no. Here comes the, oh. Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the, no. Here comes the, oh. Here comes the.
Yeah, let's let it keep going for a minute. I'm trying to find it. There it is. Go Sooners.